Want big things out of life? Expect big things of yourself. Our brain has this discerning taste for size, and we tend to like things that are colossal. We like our screens to be big, be it our phones or TVs, our flats and houses to be big, our paychecks to reflect some big numbers, and our investment returns to be even bigger. But what's that perfect balance between things being big and things being practical? Well, I'm here to find out just that with this MG's upcoming blockbuster, the Gloster. Now, the Gloster is MG's flagship offering for India. It's their fourth product for the domestic market and quite important for the brand. The Gloster is a full-size family SUV, and that's going to be my approach of reviewing it. Full-size family SUV. Full size? Well, the Gloster is that and a half, I reckon. Look at it, it's considerably larger than its competition and it shows. I really do like the front face. It's imposing yet not overly macho, which makes it justifiable in both the urban and countryside setting. There are these extensions on the grille that run through the headlamps, and you get full LED headlamp cluster. However, the fog lamps are halogen powered. Moving to the side, you have these Range Rover inspired fog vent with a very interesting badge next to it that says Brit Dynamics. Nice and proportionate multi-spoke dual tone alloy wheels really add to the rich and premium feel, and so does this brushed chrome garnish around the windows, which further extends to the roof rails, making it look like one cohesive unit. The massive tailgate invites you with a few badges and the Gloster insignia running across the length of the vehicle. Internet Insight makes you recognize this as an MG, and I really love this rear LED fog lamp. It's sleek, it's slim, and it's very sporty. What's questionable is that Gloster splashed in big bold lettering on the tailgate and the fake quad exhaust setup. It's twin piped, and two tips on the rear would have looked just fine. Overall though, it's an attention seeker thanks to those colossal dimensions. Full size with some urban design lines? Check. Now, I would have loved for my family or even friends to accompany me on the Gloster and go on a road trip. That would have been the most ideal evaluation of this six-seater, don't you think so? Well, given all the constraints, that's not possible. So what I'm going to do is represent myself as a family of six and, well, embark on a journey. So let's go. That's my suitcase, and the tailgate does get the kick gesture feature, but it's quite a pain to use that. With all seats up, you can see I have quite amount of space to put my suitcase here. I can even slide it in flat and there is still space to shut the lid. So it has decent amount of boot space even with all three rows up. But if you still want more, let me quickly show you. Pull on to these straps. The seats go all the way flat. And very interestingly, you have not one, but two 12-volt sockets accessible and a single USB slot as well. Now, these things are quite important for people like us who are out there shooting throughout the day. It's quite good to, keep our devices tanked up with battery throughout the day. Now, let me also quickly show you the rear seats. I'll put them back up. Yeah, it's quite practical, the space on the Gloster. Press of a button to close the tailgate. And yeah, let me jump into the third seat for you. Now, it is quite a tight squeeze through the gap between the captain chairs. And while the third row is definitely only meant for smaller occupants and your kids probably, you would notice once you're back in here, even for somebody as tall as me, I am not that uncomfortable. There is good amount of space. The bench is really nice and flat. And there's a good big window. Even the panoramic sunroof allows a lot of air to pass in. I get air con vents with foot ventilation, 12-volt sockets, adjustable headrests, and a good view out from these windows. Now that we have assessed the third row of seats, let me hop into the place that you would want to be in the middle row where you get these two captain seats wrapped in rich looking brown leather with these diamond stitching. It all looks very premium. Now you can obviously slide these forward and backward to make more space for yourself, and there is good amount of space under the seat to slide in my feet. For the rear passengers, since it's not a complete bench, you get a cup holder here and a small slot to put your phones and knickknacks in. I do have a 12-volt socket and a USB port and my own air con. This is a 3-zone climate control, so I do have my own air con control. It's quite nice and airy in here thanks to these large windows. There is this massive panoramic sunroof. These headrests are quite supportive. They are two-way adjustable. I can adjust them for the height and for the angle as well, and they have these amazing contours, so while I'm napping in here they'll make sure that my head stays in place. And overall, the fit and finish, everywhere I touch, it's all soft leather or it's all soft touch. And then you obviously have these bottle holders here, some MG badging on the door sills. It's quite a premium looking cabin from the back here. Good visibility everywhere around, and it's hard to fault. The only thing that I can think of is the absence of integrated rear windscreen visors. Moving to the first row, well, this is where things begin to get really interesting. You do obviously have to haul yourself into the cabin, but you'll notice that the seats automatically slides backwards to help you with the ingress and egress. Excellent. Now, once you are in the driver's seat of the Gloster, you would notice there are quite a lot of things to admire here. This kind of look and feel hasn't been trickled down to SUVs of this segment. You would only find this treatment on very expensive high-end luxury cars, and that is something that a lot of you might appreciate. It gives you that opulent feel, it gives you a very upmarket feel, and a lot of things to admire. Everything that you touch, everywhere that you feel, it's all soft touch materials. Then there is this wide infotainment system, 12.3 inch. Combined with this wide central console as well, it just accentuates the length of the cabin. Of course, you cannot miss this yacht-styled gear stick lever. It's quite fancy to hold. A lot of people would really admire it. There's a wireless charging port hidden here quite neatly. It's quite a plush cabin. Now the driver's seat is 12-way electrical adjustable, and I do get ventilation both for heating and cooling. The co-passenger seat on the other side is just 8-way adjustable, still quite good, and only gets heating facility. Although my favorite bit in here is the massage function that comes only with the driver's seat. Well, it's time to unwind then. The instrument cluster is an 8-inch unit and it has loads of information on offer. It's nice and crisp to read, and the graphics and animation, well, they could have been made a bit better. Moving on, there's this 12.3-inch infotainment system that's crisp and responsive and comes loaded with tech and features like Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, iSmart Suite, navigation, Gaana app with premium subscription, and loads more. It's hooked up to 12 speakers placed throughout the cabin to give you that immersive music experience while on the go. If there's one odd thing, it's the placement of the home button. It's on the far left end of the screen, and that's a bit of a stretch. In terms of the offerings, you get ventilated seats, knitted fabric for the roofline, this split opening cooled glove box, a yacht-style gear stick, electronic gear shifters with terrain selection, e-handbrake, wireless charging, heated OVRMs, sound-absorbing windscreen, electronically controlled tailgate. I can go about it all day, but you get the gist, right? It's feature-packed to the gills. Your family of 6 is happy and content. Checked. Now, driving the Gloster in the city is actually not a difficult task. It's quite easy. Not because the Gloster replicates the size of a typical hatchback. In fact, it's quite huge. It's very wide, it's tall. You could even call it a mammoth if you want to. But then there are those driver aids, many driver aids to help you. To begin with, you have this 360-degree camera. Then you have the front and rear proximity sensors, these OVRMs that come down when you slide it into reverse, the lane assist system, the blind spot monitoring system, and my personal favorite, the level 1 autonomous system. Okay guys, now I'm going to demonstrate the autonomous level 1 parking on the MG Gloster. It basically is just hands-free parking. So what you do is just switch on this button here. It starts looking for a spot on the right side by default. Now for it to look on the left side, just indicate left. It's looking for a spot on the left. And as soon as it finds a spot, it'll ask me to stop. There. It's found a spot, asked me to stop, put it into reverse. Now this is really cool. The way it angles it, very precise. As you can see on the 360-degree camera, it is very precise. Look at that. It's amazing. It's asked me to stop, put it into forward. The final modulations. Parking success. Can it get any easier? Out on the highway, the Gloster settles in for a comfortable ride. There isn't any excessive or unwanted movement unless you make sudden actions. And to make things relaxing for you are the advanced driver aids like these adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitor and the standard suite of electronic aids as well. The Gloster gets an intelligent 4-wheel drive system with terrain modes, in addition to the electromechanical differential lock that incorporates a Borg-Warner transfer case. It's not the most hardcore off-road, but it's more than enough for what would be required from the Gloster on your long-distance multi-terrain touring. It's these broken sections of roads that really took us by surprise. The Gloster neatly irons out broken asphalt, and that is what makes it a desirable vehicle. Now the Gloster comes powered by an in-house developed 2-liter turbocharged, it's actually twin turbocharged engine that produces 212 bhp and roughly about 480 Newton meters of torque. Now these figures do help it stay ahead of its competition in terms of outright performance as on paper. And the twin turbocharging setup basically means there's a smaller turbo to get rid of that initial turbo lag and the second one to carry that torque throughout the rev range. Now this arrangement, because of this arrangement, you would feel that there is no turbo kick, and you might feel that the Gloster does not have enough grunt, but things can be very deceptive in here. The Gloster, when you put your foot down, it just lunges forward with so much elegance and so much grunt rather. It is quite a quick car for its size and it really shows out on the highway. Now this diesel mill is rather smooth and quiet. Now these are characteristics that you wouldn't associate with a diesel with a huge and rugged SUV, but well, this one feels different in a lot of aspects. Now the Gloster comes equipped with an 8-speed automatic torque converter, and it's quite a smooth shifting, quite a slick shifting unit. Now it does take a few seconds to register when you put your foot down, but then when it does slot into the right gear, it just lunges forward with so much confidence. It sticks to the road and just glues down. As you can see, it's reminding me to slow down to 60. However, I'm not overspeeding. I'm actually at 80, which is within the speed limits. You don't really care about that, but nevertheless, it's quite a smooth shifting torque converter. And then if you really do want to dial things up a bit, you have the sports mode. Put it into sports mode, it will hold the revs for a bit longer and it gives you that extra torque at the very end of the rev band. What's good is that wide track that the Gloster has. There is a fair bit of body roll, but that's what you would expect from a vehicle of this size. What helps are disc brakes at all 4 corners, and overall it comes across as an easy and enjoyable vehicle to drive. Driving manners of an SUV? Check. What an exciting day and what an adventurous day. It's a very capable machine, this Gloster, and it's here to take on 2 very well established SUVs of its segment, the Toyota Fortuner and the Ford Endeavour. Honestly, if you ask me, there is a lot going for the Gloster. It's loaded with tech, it's actually light years ahead in terms of the technology that it packs, and then there are those colossal dimensions around it. Okay, you do miss out on that solid and robust build construction like the others, but then it's a fair trade-off for all that additional features and technology. It's an apt cityscape vehicle, it's a long-distance tourer, comes with enough technology to take you off-road, and then it has good size on the inside as well. Then there are those ride and handling dynamics combined with the driver aids, and it all comes out to be a very compelling package. At the end of the day, I wanted to spend more time behind the wheel of the Gloster, possibly on a cross-country tour, and I'm sure a lot of you would want to see the same as well. While pricing is yet to be announced, we expect it around the 40 lakh mark. Let us know what do you think of the Gloster and what's your expectation in terms of its pricing. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the Top Gear Mag channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified. Until next time,
goodbye.